Hi, my name is Cory Allen. I am a sound supervisor, a Wisycom user, a Gotham alumnus, and a micro-influencer. And today I'm going to show you how to set up a channel of Wisycom Wireless very quickly. So Wisycom just got US-based distribution, and now these kits are available that include a receiver, a couple of transmitters, and everything you need to get started. The kit includes a receiver, obviously, a backplate for the receiver, which is how you actually get the audio out of it, a couple of transmitters, antennas for everything, a manual for the receiver and a manual for the transmitter, a Wisycom pouch, and batteries are included. And so that's everything you need to get started, short of cables to actually get to whatever device. This back that it comes with is the TA3 back. So you have two balanced TA3 connectors right there. And you also have a headphone jack on the side. You can use an 1/8" stereo cable adapter to get to a recorder or a camera, or you can use these two balanced outputs right here. And you'll also need a way of powering the receiver. So for our demo, we have this NP1 battery that's been adapted to a Hiroshi. There's also a AA battery adapter that actually screws onto this that'll allow it to be completely portable with no other cables except for your audio out. So those are your powering options. And so we're just going to go ahead and set this thing up to get some audio out of it. So we already have a TA3 to XLR cable right here. I'm going to plug that into the TA3 output. All right, so we're going to turn it on and we're going to set it up real quick. So first thing you do is hold the power button to turn it on. Wait for it to boot up. Right off the bat, you've got group, channel, frequency, and squelch. For this, we're going to focus mostly on the group and channel. So first thing you want to do is scan. There's a scan button right here, and I'm just going to hold that. Choose which receiver. This is a 2-channel receiver, so we're going to choose either of the two receivers, hit select, and there are a bunch of groups pre-programmed in here, but for our first pass, we want to scan with the ATSC carrier group, which is going to scan one frequency of every TV channel. It's going to remind you to turn off all of your transmitters before you start because it's going to interpret those as interference. And so we're going to start scanning. And again, this is scanning the center frequency of each TV channel to just give you a general idea of what the UHF spectrum looks like in whatever city you're in. Or as time changes and the FCC moves things around, you might want to do another one of these scans to get an idea of which TV channels are better or worse in your area. So as this finishes up, it's about 51 TV channels. Okay, so now that we've got our scan, you can see it's selected channel 46. That's TV channel 46. But that is in the 662 range, which is higher than the block 5 transmitters go. So we actually want to choose a channel that is a little bit lower within the range of our transmitters. I'm going to choose channel 26. It's got a frequency that's well within our transmitter range, and that'll work well for us. So I'm not going to select it here. I'm going to back out, but just remember channel 26. So I back out to the home screen and scan again. And this time, I want to scan channel 26. Another reminder to keep the transmitters off while scanning. And now it's going to scan all of the frequencies in that channel group. All of these frequencies are coordinated to work well with one another. And I've had success operating over a dozen wireless channels at once based on these groups. So now it's going to return the scan results. We've got, again, plenty of clean channels here. The cleanest being channel 0 at -1 dBUV. Again, this number right here, the lower the better. And then channel 1 is -1 dBUV. So we'll go with channel 0 and channel 1. So to lock that frequency in, I'm going to hold the select button, and you want to make sure it says saved on the screen. And now you can see receiver 1 is set to group 15, channel 0. Now I can go through the same scan process for the second receiver, or to quickly do it, I'm just going to hit the up arrow to get into the receiver 2 screen, and then hit select again to get to the group selection, and then manually just dial it up to group 15. Hit select to confirm that, and then channel 1. And again, hold select for a couple seconds. Make sure it says saved, otherwise it's going to switch back to the one you had it set to before. And when I back out to the home screen, you can see group 15 channel 0 and group 15 channel 1. Those two frequencies are going to work perfectly well together because they are in the same group, but they're different channels. Now that the receiver is set up, we're going to set up the transmitter. To set up the transmitter, you just need to put the two AA batteries in, put an antenna on, and these come with two antennas per transmitter. If you're using a higher frequency in the band, you want to use the shorter antenna, and if you're using a lower frequency, you want to use the longer antenna. It'll give you the most performance for whatever frequency you're using. And then you also want to have a lavalier microphone plugged into the mic input. This is a standard LEMO 3-pin wiring. If you have any lavs that are wired for Zaxcom or Electro SSMs, they will work perfectly fine with a Wisycom transmitter. You have a power switch on the top, and then inside you have channel and gain buttons and a select jog wheel that jogs back and forth, and then you can press it in to select. So to turn it on, we hit the power switch, and then you can either go into the channel screen and manually dial it in, dial your frequency in, or we can bring our receiver back. And there's a sync function on this that uses an infrared, to sync these two. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold sync. I'm going to sync receiver 1. And then on the transmitter, you want to use the scroll wheel once it's booted up. You want to scroll over to the IRDA screen. That's the infrared enabled screen. And then there's an infrared window on the back, and then there's another infrared window here. You line those two up, and then it says all done. Your transmitter is now synced to the receiver. And you'll see it says SY, I think that's for system, but that frequency up at the top should match the frequency listed on your receiver. And so, if everything works right, now if I talk into this, la 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 la, then you are now hearing audio that's coming from the transmitter, the Wisycom transmitter that we just set up. And then for the second, if you want to set up a second transmitter, you hold the sync button, and instead of receiver 1, you just select receiver 2 and repeat that process, and then you'll have two channels set up, ready to go. So if your level isn't perfect at the recorder, there are a couple of gain adjustments that you can make on both the transmitter and the receiver. On the transmitter, you hit the gain button, and it'll shortcut you right to the gain screen in the transmitter. You use the jog wheel here, bring it to a lower number for a louder source, and bring it to a higher number for a quieter source, whatever is appropriate for your talent. On the receiver, we also have the ability to change the output level. So I'm going to hit the up arrow to get to the audio level screen, and then I hit menu or select to get into the audio menu. If I scroll down here, you can see I have separate output level controls for my receiver 1 and receiver 2. And if I hit select, I can keep that up at like a +12 for a line level output, or I can bring that all the way down to, or I can bring it down to a -24 for a mic level output, which would be more appropriate for going into something like a DSLR. As always, press and hold select until you see the saved notification there that it is in fact locked in. And then if your output is set appropriately for whatever your destination is, then that's all you need to get a Wisycom wireless system all set up and ready to go. Thanks for joining. My name is Cory Allen. To see other videos like this, visit the video archives at gothamsound.tv. You can follow Gotham on Facebook and Twitter for the latest news. And if you have an idea of a video that you'd like to see, send that or some questions to info@gothamsound.com. Thanks again.